Good to have you back. Still tuned into Market Sense. It's week for the entire banking pack. So you've got Punjab National Bank, BOB, Can Bank as well as SBI all under pressure. Prakash, Gaba is still with us. Prakash, what would be your reading for SBI at 1866?
I think it would be an excellent shorting candidate because structurally State Bank of India is looking weak and looks like it's more of a breakdown structure that has no strength. I would have a stop above the levels of 1900 and expect it to slide down to levels closer to the 1830. Will it stop there? I don't think so. I think it's going to test the even recent low that we have seen around closer to 1800. So to me, SBI is a good sell.
A great shorting candidate for SBI, target 1830 with a stop loss at 1900. Thanks very much, Prakash, for giving us that perspective on the show. Let's get into perspective on the fixed income space. So Yash Chaudhary, head of income at IDFC, now joins in on the show. So Yash, if we look at the month of September, that's likely to be a little tough for bond yields given that it's going to be the midterm policy review, the release of the borrowing program for the second half of the year as well. So what's your sense? Would you be a bit cautious on the bond yields?
Not really. If you look at September versus August, the supply calendar for August was the steepest till date. So the Government of India was scheduled to borrow 75,000 crores. We have pretty much seen most of it through without any mishap. So I wouldn't be too bearish with respect to September for two reasons. One is the RBI policy is really a debate of whether RBI cuts or not. It is certainly not a debate whether RBI will hike. So as far as bond participants are concerned, the decision is whether there is a cut or not. In terms of supply, the supply of bonds is lesser than what it was in August. And also the fact that market does expect maybe one or two OMOs from RBI coinciding with advanced tax outflows mid-September. Lastly, yes, there could be some stress with respect to announcement of second half borrowing calendar end of September. But if I go by what the finance minister has been saying recently, it's likely that the review of the fiscal deficit targets happen after the first half review of the economy.
Shayash, I'm just going to request you to hold on for a moment. There's some news at hand. Remember that the government has barred 3 companies, including Adani Ports, from participating in 2 major port projects on account of security grounds. Rajiva Sinha from Adani Ports now joins in on the show. Mr. Sinha, to start off with, could you just tell us your comments on the same? Because from what we understand, you said you weren't aware that you were barred from this port.
That is true. The situation has not changed. Even now, we are not aware through government sources that we have been denied national security clearance for coal terminal in Marmugao port and as well as general cargo terminal in Tuticorin. So it's very difficult for us to react without knowing that it has not been granted, one, and secondly, what are the grounds on which it has not been granted.
But Mr. Sinha, are you trying to seek a clarification from the ministry's concerned because your stock is getting hammered by the market? It's down over 4%.
Yeah, we will like to seek the clarification from the government once we receive anything officially. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to make a representation to government that, they may say that we have not informed you. So therefore, wait for communication from government.
Mr. Sinha, some of the analysts who have been reading into this news said that it's not likely to impact the valuation of your stock price so much given that the projects have not yet been awarded to your company. Is that true?
True. This is the first stage. See, national security clearance is the first stage clearance. Thereafter, only the bidding process commences. So this stage is reached when there is request for qualification of bidders who would like to bid for the project. So we have not bid for the project. No one has bid for these projects at all. And number 2, in Marmugao port, we are already constructing and shortly start operating the coal terminal. And therefore, as per government policy, for the same commodity in the same port, the same company is not allowed to bid. So I wonder whether there is a disqualification by not granting national security clearance or we are not shortlisted because as per government policy we can't bid for it.
Sure. All right, Mr. Sinha, thanks very much for joining us on the show and clarifying Adani's position on this whole issue of the government saying that it has barred 3 companies, Adani included. So Yash, my apologies for having broken away from that discussion we were having on the fixed income markets. Very quickly, what is the broad range you expect the 10-year to trade in at for this week, and what would be the macro indicators that you'd be looking for?
A broad range of around 8.12, 13 to 8 quarter can be looked at. Clearly the biggest indicator to look forward to is the GDP print due Friday. And if for some reason it were to show around 5 or a little under, then that would be a fresh impetus for bond markets. If on the other hand it comes at expectation of around 5.3 to 5.5, then I would expect the range to continue.
So Yash, appreciate you taking out the time and joining in with the IDFC view on the bond markets. But with that, we're completely timed out right here on Market Sense. It's goodbye from George, me and the entire team that put the show together. Thanks for watching. Markets at lunch up next.